get ready. It might not be as exciting as you thought it would. But if you don't feel less of yourself after all of this, it means you feel nothing of yourself to begin with. Came across this book the other day. Look at that. Look at that. There's that guy. He's on there like Howard Rourke jumping off into the quarries. It's a book called The Science of Life. It was written by H.G. Wells. You know, the guy that wrote stories 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and he also talked about time travel. He's like, that's a weird dude. He's not weird. He's just different. That's the difference. There are weird and creepy people over there in the darkness that don't want you to really see who they are. But there are people that are different also, that write something to represent themselves as a person that can move society forth. You know, they say, this is where we're at right now. Work with this. They're sharing. This is a book called The Science of Life. I got it in a used bookstore in Santa Cruz, California, while I was on break from selling steel-toed boots to the Wrigley factory that was right there. I was chewing a lot of gum. They gave me a lot of free gum, so I was chewing gum and in the bookstore, and I found this book. And look, you look into it, you read the selection and evolution. This is an extraordinary blossoming of distinct species, each on its little island patch. So impressed Darwin that he wrote 30 years later, when I visited the Galapagos archipelago, I fancied myself brought near to the very act of creation. They're all books, and they've got stuff, they've got pictures. Oh, look at that. What determines sex? Oh, that's a good one. I think it's a hard-on. I learned that in the second grade. But they've got pictures, they've got writings. H.G. Wells wrote this book with his son. I guess I'm going to have to open it up to the front page. This is a $275 book that I've got handwritten in pencil at the top here. It's $1.50 sale. They just wanted to get it. I've looked this book up. It's $275 book if you want to buy it on Amazon or eBay. I'm not selling it. I'm just so happy with this one also. It's The Science of Life. It was written, it's called, well, whatever. The Outline of History. Mr. Britling sees it through the world of William Crishold. This is written by Julian S. Huxley, author of The Stream of Life, etc., etc. And G.P. Wells, University College of London. His boy was... So what I'm saying is they've got all this stuff written down. What year? I should have probably told you that. It's been around for a long time. We all have access to it. The wondrous thing that I found when I picked up this book in that used bookstore, which used bookstores, I always feel like I'm walking into a magic land when I walk in there, because I just see things and they relate to me. A used bookstore, it's almost like there are spirits and ghosts in these books that recognize you, and they say, take me, you'll like me. Yeah. And this book was written in the year 1929. So we've got all this information, and I'm not kidding. As I was reading through it, it's got pictures of this stuff. It's got pictures of the little, like, when you go by a cement factory and the cups are taking things up the rail. That's what it's like in our on our ventricle system. Down in our legs, they've got these cups that, as the heart pumps, it pushes forth, and it fills with fluids and it takes it up. But as we get older and everything's falling apart, those things don't work so well. So people, now that diabetes is a regular human fucking trait, people suffer that constantly. And I read this and I said, look at that. I said, they are telling things we already know. Back then, when they were writing this stuff down, it was huge. It was a big deal. They were sharing information with people, just like, I know I talked about this. If I didn't talk about this, I'm having a deja vu, or I meant to, and I did the script in my head and I shut it down and didn't get to it. But, like, what's his name? Hawking, with a brief history of time, and his other thing, the theory of everything. I read both of those, and I listened to Einstein speaking, and I could recognize, and all these very intelligent people, they are saying things in ways that we can understand, so that it becomes part of society, and that we can move on from there. Because somebody in that society, whether it's a little 6-year-old kid in some kind of Dust Bowl region that killed his brother like Johnny Cash by mistake, he might be the one that recognizes the way forward. So these scientists are sharing stuff with us. I'm pretty sure my cigarette went out. And that's the point that I'm running across right now. We know what is out there. And when we look at the way these megalomaniacs, see, I got to you, didn't I? I tricked you. When we see how they are just going with everything they've been told year and year and year and again, and some of them are saying, what the fuck, I'm getting... I did the same damn thing. It doesn't make any difference. What are they talking about? They're being lying to me all this time. And so imagine somebody's been lying to you all this time. But it's not just that. These are the people that are talking about taxation without representation and such. And they're talking about how you can't let your government take your money from you. But look at what the Republican Congress has done in this last 4 years, as far as we can tell. Let them tell you what they've accomplished. And ask yourself, if you want to save the country a lot of money, think about how much those Republican Congress people that haven't accomplished anything are paid every year. Each and every year. I don't know. It's more than I make. Yet we're paying for them. And so at some point, if you cannot see that these people are just dragging things on and making things up and doing nothing at all and just getting paid every day like you wouldn't if you were as useless at your job as they are, you have to question yourself. At some point, when are you going to realize it? All these old things being told us, to us, that they keep bringing up, that they charge us for, at some point, You have to realize you could do better yourself, but you never have, because you've never wanted to do anybody wrong by lying and bullshitting for your own personal gain. And you're buying into somebody who is doing that. Think about the money you have spent on megalomaniacal lies.